I could not have picked a better day to air this because it is April Fool's Day, and some of my own limiting beliefs that I have around specific products, around certain strategies, it it really did make a fool of me. And I want to share with you some ways that you can level up your life, grow and get to the next level. And I'm going to share with you exactly how to do that here right after our intro. Welcome to Business Insights with Matt Milia. I'm your host, Matt Milia, and in this podcast, we'll talk about the real, raw, uncut business success secrets you won't find anywhere else. Follow my journey from entry level to CEO. We discuss real actionable items you can plug into your business right away. To subscribe to our weekly top tips, you can go to www.mattpodcast.com and join our community of elite high-level performers. And if you're interested in our inside sales company, you can go to www.appointmentstoday.com to jump on a free strategy call. And now, stay tuned for our podcast. All right. What is going on, Roksana? How are you?
I'm fabulous. Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm super excited because I want to talk to everyone a little bit today about a limiting belief that I had around a process, a product, something that I thought was just so, I'm like, oh, that doesn't work. That's just some big money making hype for people, and that's that. And I got to tell you, it was one of the biggest things that changed my overall health, well-being, and it helped me feel better throughout, and that's essential oils. And I never thought I'd have, if you were to ask me a few years ago, publicly promoting essential oils, I'd be like, what? Why would I do that? But it really did change a lot of things for me. It changed the way that I saw other areas of my life. And I'd love for you to kind of talk on how you even got into that business. And first and foremost, too, tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Thank you very much. So my name is Roksana, and I am the CEO and founder of Freedom Star Institute. I'm actually a certified NLP mindset coach, and I work with people around public speaking. I help people find out what's keeping them stuck in life and get that out of the way so they can go on to create the life that they dream of. And that also includes health and wellness. And because I personally am a fan of essential oils, I just offer that as part of my, regular just conversation with people. This is not something that I do as for profit or anything like that. I love it. It's changed my life dramatically, and I feel that I have an ethical and moral obligation to share that with the world, as I did with you. Was it about a year ago or a year and a half?
Yeah, year and a half.
Mm-hmm. So I got into essential oils because when I was a competitive dancer, I had this foot pain that was just bothering me, and I was limping, and I couldn't put my foot down and apply pressure, things like that. And nothing I tried over the counter, anything that, I wasn't going to go to the doctor and take any kind of prescription medicine. So over the counter things, nothing was working. And here I am, I'm in competition, and I have to be able to use my foot,
Right.
So my dance partner, teacher, his wife was into essential oils. And so he gave me a sample, and I'm not joking. It was gone in one day. And the way I used it, I was blown away that I sat down and had a conversation with her, and I found out about all the different ways that essential oils could help me in my life. And then I just became an addict. I was hooked forever with all the medical problems that I had, all the health issues. My father, my mother, my friends, everybody, we're just all became true believers. It's one of those things you really do need to try it to believe it. And here's the thing. I always say this, Matt. I always say nothing, just by using the essential oils, the worst thing that could happen is nothing, right? Like, let's say it just doesn't work. But if you take prescription pills and you go to surgeries and you do all these things, what's the worst that could happen? All the side effects on those commercials that you watch on TV may cause, suicidal thoughts. I mean, what? I don't want to.
Right.
So the
Oh,
worst thing that can happen is nothing. And why not take a chance on something that's natural, healthy? It comes from earth, right?
huge.
And it makes a difference. It's going to help. So why not give it a shot?
Well, and it's funny because when I opened up the show, I said, it's funny that it's April Fool's Day because I had this mindset around that's snake oil. They're trying to make all this money from me and they don't care and I'm not going to get any better. Well, I was getting sick, so I moved from Cleveland recently in the middle of the winter here to Florida, and I mean, of course, I do feel a lot better now, but I still take the oils because I would get so sick during the winter time where I'd get every cold that was going around, I'd get it. And I was taking vitamin C, regular vitamins. I take vitamin C, rose hips. I took bee pollen. I mean, you name it. I took different vitamins, even a multivitamin, and I just would feel like crap during that time of the year. And I'm one of those people where I operate solely off energy. I'm very high energy, very high enthusiasm, and if I don't have that, it literally kills off everything. So I'm at a point where I'm saying to myself, okay, how do I get better? How do I start feeling healthier? And how do I do it without having to dump a bunch of money into, going to the doctor? Because I like the holistic approach. I don't like having where they're pushing prescription pills at you and this pill might fix this problem, but then all of a sudden I have this one side effect. Now I got to take 7 more pills. So to me, it makes a huge difference. And I stopped getting sick. I wasn't getting colds anymore. I wasn't getting flu bugs. I actually think since I started taking it, I had one really mild cold that was gone in a day. And it was just like I felt drained. And I don't know if it was maybe allergies or what it was, but it was one day. That was it. And I would get sick for out of 6 months in the winter, I'd be sick for about 4.5 of them. So that's in itself amazing. And I wanted to share that with everybody with Roxana on here. So why don't you let everyone know a little bit about some of the things that you recommend for people that are trying to either help with their energy, or are there certain ones that you can talk on that you feel are going to give people that extra edge?
Absolutely. And I want to touch on something that you said. You were saying that you take a lot of other vitamins, natural supplements, and things like that. And I just want
Yep.
to address that really quickly. One of the reasons why essential oils work so effectively is that the cellular structure of an oil is so tiny and minute. It is the only element that can enter the cellular membrane. So our bodies are covered with thousands and millions of cells, right?
Mm.
Viruses live inside the cell, bacteria is outside of the cell. And when you take either prescription medications or over-the-counter medications or even natural pills and supplements, there is a cellular structure to that. Those things cannot actually permeate that membrane. So you've got a cell, and this is how bruises happen also, right? So you've got a cell, something hits the cell, and you create the bruise. Or let's say the virus is inside or the bacteria is on the outside. Well, that membrane that surrounds the cell is very, very tiny, tiny little holes that things don't get inside. And essential oils can penetrate that cellular membrane. So that's why they work so effectively. And to be clear, it's not about how much you use, it's how often you use them. So it takes
Mm.
1 to 3 drops, really maximum, to get the effectiveness. So 1 drop of peppermint oil is equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea, which people can take for an upset tummy or indigestion and things like that. That's how effective they are. And then to answer your question, what are some things that people can use? There are my favorite top 10 oils, but I'll just go over a couple of them. We're going to say lavender, frankincense, melaleuca, on guard, and peppermint and lemon. Those are like bar none, your must have. You can replace everything in your medicine cabinet for that, from cuts, burns, bug bites, scrapes, scratches, stress, sleep issues, indigestion issues. You have a rash, mosquito bites. We're coming into summer now. The mosquitoes are coming out.
Yeah.
Spider bites, things like that. Really anything, cramps, women's PMS, cramps, right? Like everything can be, maybe you overate a little too much on Friday night, and you got that bloating feeling. I mean, like literally anything, including the cold that you were talking about. And then it can go even further if you want to address more chronic and persistent issues as well.
I love that. Something too that I felt like I forgot to mention is that I was taking it inside of a vegetable capsule, which when you told me that, I was like, what? Like, I always thought you just burn it in like a thing around you. And I'm like, well, okay. I mean, makes the room smell nice, but why can't I just go get a wick candle or an air, one of those things where you plug into the wall, which are terrible, by the way, but it's another story for another day. But the being able to take that and ingest it, literally, I felt more mental clarity. I felt more energy. I also felt when I was getting sick, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'll just take this. And I mean, it was crazy because I felt like I could be around people that had colds or something was going on, and I would just take that on a consistent basis, and I found myself fighting it off, which is really amazing. So thank you for introducing me to that. You were telling me something before that there were, for chronic pain, you brought up. Would you mind going a little deeper into like the chronic pain side of things? How would that help on that type of a level?
Yes, absolutely. So there's a particular technique called Spinal Protocols that I got trained and certified in. And in Spinal Protocols, this is a series of specific oils in a specific order that you apply in a specific way, literally on your spine. And let's say you have anything from osteo issues, emotional issues, solar issues, and I have to be very careful what I say here because there's a medical disclaimer and I cannot say certain words. So if I sound hesitant, it's because I'm trying to watch my language.
You're good. See, I didn't put our HIPAA policy up there, so but go ahead.
Let's just say, I'll give you an example of one of my mentors in the company, and this will identify exactly what you're asking. So at 25, he had a skiing accident. He was injured so badly that he was hooked on pain pills. He gained 40 pounds. He sometimes was bedridden from the excruciating pain at 25 years old. And he lived like this for 10 to 15 years. And it got so bad that he was going to go in for spinal surgery, which is extremely dangerous, especially when you're young. Now, another oil mentor reached out to him and said, if you give me 3 months, follow my exact instructions, and if you don't get better, go for the surgery, but give me 3 months. And to this day, he's off pain medicine. He's lost his 40 pounds. He has no pain, and he never had the back surgery because he followed the advice of someone who wanted him to follow these essential oils recipe. So that's what Spinal Protocol does that's a broad example. I'd have to talk with somebody one-on-one, to really go into more depth, but that gives you a basic idea.
I mean, that in itself is amazing though, because so many people are having to go to the doctor, or you have to go and I mean, it's not cheap to go to the doctor. I mean, and then and it's not even the financial element of it. It's all of the extra stuff that comes along with it because they prescribe something to you, and now all of a sudden you can't move, or you don't feel right. And I feel like if there's a natural remedy for it, it's where the focus should be.
Well, and you said it. It's not just the financial aspect of the doctor appointments and the medicine and whatnot. It's also the financial impact of not being able to go to work to make money because you're injured. How about the family impact? You can't spend time with your loved ones, your wife, your husband, your kids, right? You can't go out and enjoy life, whether you're in a relationship or not. Like, you just can't go out and enjoy life, go out hiking and biking and swimming. You're struggling and you're suffering from whatever ails you. It could be emotional, it could be physical, it could be internal. Maybe your digestive issues are off track. I mean, really anything can prevent you, and that is a cost. There is a cost and a payoff to everything. Now, while essential oils are not the cheapest route, either way, you're going to spend money. So I always say illness is an expense and wellness is an investment. Either way, you're going to spend some money. But would you rather have your freedom, your time, your peace of mind, time with your family, the ability to sleep? How many of us would love to be able to sleep better at night?
Yeah, it does make a huge difference.
Yeah.
What do you do you have certain ones that you recommend for sleeping?
So lavender is my go-to for everything, but there are some other things to have talk about with people. There could be some underlying issues as far as why you're not sleeping. Could be dietary issues, could be some emotional issues, stress, things like that. Lavender is the go-to. And you mentioned earlier about you were surprised that I asked you to take it internally. So there are 3 ways to take
Yeah.
essential oils. One is the diffuser that you said. So these are great for emotional purposes. Then there's topical. These are great for rashes, burns, cuts, scrapes, bites, things like that, something that's actually on the skin. And then there's the internal, which is going to go to work on your internal organs and fight that cellular membrane that I was talking about earlier, where the viruses and the bacteria lie. And so for sleep, you would want to use topical. You'd want to use it on your pulse points. So that would be like your neck, your temples, your wrists. You also might want to diffuse it. And here's a really interesting fun fact. The bottom of the feet is the best place to put essential oils when you want to get it into your system fast. So that has the largest pore of your body. Great for kids. You can put some On Guard on the kids every night before bed to keep them from getting sick, at least pre-COVID, when they were going to school and coming home with colds,
Oh yeah.
So now that the world's starting to open up a little bit, you still want to probably do that. And oils
Oh
are great
yeah.
for kids too. You just have to use it in smaller doses. And sometimes you want to use coconut oil as a carrier to help it not be so potent. And some adults like that as well. But definitely for sleep, a diffuser. There's also another one called Serenity, which has a mixture of different ingredients in it, like chamomile and lavender and things like that. And that one is so peaceful. And there's another step that we can call the morphine bomb, where you combine a couple of things, put it in a pill, and it's lights out.
That's what I do. So yeah, well, yeah, not for the sleeping, but for making sure that I stay healthy. It's funny because I was laughing when you said the bottom of the feet because I read this thing online is the most ridiculous thing, and I don't know if it worked or didn't work, but I remember taking like the slice of the onion and putting it in your sock when you'd get sick, and I mean it helped a little bit, but it was just like next day I wake up, I'm like, man, I smell like I'm permeating onions. It's nasty. So no one likes that, and it's like I don't know. I told my wife, I'm like, yeah, you should try that out. And she's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, well, I'm going to do it. And like, so I didn't do that anymore. But the On Guard helped quite a bit, and I didn't have that. So I mean, that was awesome, and it did work. So for everyone that's watching, by the way, if you look up Roksana, actually, I think you have it the exact way that it is on your Facebook. But then you also gave me to the. I'll put this up here as well so everybody can see it. But if you just go look her up on Facebook, and there's a lot of different things you can talk on. And one of the things that you were talking about earlier was also NLP. How'd you get into that space? I know that's totally separate from the oils, but how'd you get into the NLP space?
Well, it's not entirely totally separate because we're talking about whole life wellness, right? Because essential oils
It's
help
true.
with emotional issues, physical issues, internal issues, things like that, right? So it's
Right.
not entirely a disconnect. And NLP I discovered this in seeking my own personal journey of health and wellness and healing. So a lot of us have had some kind of experience in life that we carry through our entire adulthood, whatever it may be. Could be your parents were divorced, could be you were a military brat and you moved around a lot and you had a hard time making friends, it could be you experienced bullying in school, it could be a million things, right? And we carry these experiences in our bodies in a subconscious level. They are hiding there. They are running the show. And when we think that we're actually in charge of our life, we're not. It's actually the subconscious that's running the show. And so if you're wondering, why do you have different relationship but same breakup? Why do you have a different car but the same car problem, right? Why do you have a different job, the same amount of money in your bank account? Why are these things, right? So I wanted to find out my own answers for myself, why this was showing up for me. And searching, I stumbled across NLP as well as matrix therapies, which is what I'm specialized in. There is maybe a dozen or 24 people in the US certified to do that particular technique. And so what we do is what I do is I work with people who want to figure out their own stuckness, whatever that is. And we get that out of the way. I can do this anywhere between 7 and 15 sessions. I'm not long-term treatment. I am in and I'm out, just like essential oils. We get to work, we go to work fast, and we get out and move on with your life so that you can go create what you want.
I love it. Well, for everyone that's watching, if you want to get unstuck, reach out to Roksana. There's so many amazing things that she has to offer. And I actually met her through Sid and Tiffany, who I think they're in like the same, you guys are in a same circle or different, how do you know them?
Well, actually, that's how I got certified. Tiffany Toombs is the certified person. She's the only person in the United States who was certified to be able to teach us this kind of technique. And so I went through her program where I now also am certified to teach other people. And that's why it's such a small, specialized technique. And that's how I know them.
So it's funny because it was so random. They said something about what you were offering online, and I'm like, when you have a lot of respect for someone and you're looking at what they're doing and you're saying, wow, they're really building something great, that should be someone I should look at and see what they're doing. So I reached out to them like, hey, who's this person? Like, oh, go to her. I guarantee you won't feel ill anymore. I remember hearing the words guarantee. I was not ill anymore. And I know there's no guarantees on oils or anything, but when I heard that, I'm like, huh, I'm just going to make the call and see. And then after that, I mean, for me, health and wellness is, I mean, it's the cornerstone of everything you do. If you can't show up at your best version of yourself, it doesn't matter what skill you learn, doesn't matter what you've created. If you can't be the best version of yourself on a day-to-day basis and push through it, it's almost all for none. And I remember laying in bed for, a week or so because I was just so out of it. I was so sick. And then I would, try to do work, but it wouldn't be the best. It wouldn't be my best work because I'm exhausted and I can't think clearly and everything was just a bother. So that really helped me big time. So publicly, and I know I've told you as well privately, thank you so much for that because it has really helped me dramatically. So it's really awesome. For everyone that's on, if you'd like to, Roksana, is there any other recommendations that you'd make for folks who are either wanting to feel better or don't know maybe where to turn to or who to talk to? What are some things that you can, recommend for them so that they can kind of get behind from the internet and get on a call with you or talk to you?
Right. I want to be very clear for everyone listening here. Not all essential oils are created equal. Any recommendation I give is given solely on the brand of Doterra because I have researched it, I have studied it, I've examined it, I know how they test their product. I want you to know something about the FDA. They say that you can put 100% pure label on the outside of a bottle as long as you have 10% inside. This is not what I want to put in my body. You don't know what you're getting. What's really important is that a lot of oils are oftentimes diluted with other ingredients to cut down on costs. Whereas Doterra, they will go out and create tons of material just to create a bottle of one particular ingredient. I don't know if I have that fact right here quickly, but there is We can talk about it privately on one-on-one conversations. So what I want you to know is that when you go out to the supermarket or grocery stores or holistic stores, do your research. There are other companies other than doTERRA that make oils, and they do a great job. I cannot vouch for them. So when I say that you can take oils internally, be cautious. Buyer beware. Not everything is to be used this way, and not everything is going to give you the same results that Matt has had and all of the hundreds of people that I've helped. Now, with that being said, if you want to have a conversation, I don't charge anything. We just have a talk. I ask you some questions, find out what you're looking for. I mean, there's no fees. It's just a conversation and get education so that anybody can reach out to me. That's all I want to do is share my knowledge with people. Be careful with what kind of product that you buy. And know that the brand doTERRA has been through rigorous testing. And here's a couple things. One, they source the ingredients in the country where it's indigenous, meaning where it grows the best with the sun, soil, and water. They also create jobs, housing, health, medical, schooling, everything for the people that work in that country to work for the doTERRA company. So now we're also giving back. Then third, it is sourced naturally, or harvested naturally and created through steam distillation or cold press. That's the only way. It is not diluted. It is not compromised. And then it's third-party tested. You can actually go to a Google website, look at the code on the bottle, and see the constituents and see everything that is inside of that oil. So you know that you're getting a good quality and pure product through doTERRA. So that's the only thing I really want to say is buyer, be cautious, please.
So don't go on Amazon and find the $2 bottle of frankincense and then think that, wonder why it doesn't smell like anything that you should really ever put into your body, let alone buy.
Yes.
Don't go that way. Because I have heard of horror stories of people buying stuff. They're like, oh, this stuff's expensive. And they try to go online and they buy junk and it doesn't work, or it makes them not feel well. And I've never had that the only thing I will say about doTERRA, and this was my own self, when she says use 1 to 2 drops, that should be just about it. When you go, I've had times where I'm like, oh, I'm starting to feel a little worn down, and I put the oregano and it'd be bigger drops. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you get a little heartburn from the oregano, and then it's you're like, oh, this isn't good. So that's the only thing I would say. And that was my fault. That's on me 100% because I put too much. But as long as you follow exactly what she says to do, you'll be good. So
it's 1 to 3 drops and go every 4 hours. It's frequency, not how much, not quantity.
Right. And I find myself doing a couple of drops a day of each, put it in the vegetable capsule and just consistently do it on a daily basis. And I feel a lot better. And my wife as well. I mean, she was getting, before she would have stomach issues and stuff too. And then we were using that and all of a sudden it helped out tremendously. So is there one for Roxanne? I should have asked you this before, but because heartburn's such a common, do they have one for heartburn that you know of that helps on that level?
There's an essential oil called Digest Zen, and it's a mix of all kinds of things. And you don't need to take it internally. You can just rub it on your stomach. However, they do make a pre-made chewable. They make it comes in a liquid. It comes in a chewable. I think it comes in one other version. And this is a miracle. I mean, when I went over eat sushi the other day,
right?
And sake and sushi, I'm like, oh, not feeling so good. You just rub it on your belly, and 5 minutes is usually when I start to feel better.
So I love that. That's awesome.
There's other options. So it's just like when you go to the pharmacy and you want to get an over-the-counter medicine. There's Tylenol Cold, Sudafed, there's all these different brands, right? So there are other oils in case one of them is not your favorite, or you don't like the smell, or it's not working for you. So you could use ginger and peppermint as an alternative.
That's awesome. Oh, you have a ginger one. That's right. I should actually look into that. So see, now I'll tell you what though, that the investment, well worth it. And you got to invest in your health. Either you're investing in health or you're investing in doctor's bills way too early in your life. That's how I look at it. So
And
yeah.
time
Well,
off from work and time off from your life.
yeah, it's true. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And guys, I don't ever have anybody on here that I wouldn't personally endorse. Amazing products, amazing person as well. So thank you so much for taking the time, and for everyone watching, see you same channel, same place next week. And everyone that wants to get a hold of Roksana, find her on Facebook so that she can help you get rid of all your ailments. Thank you again so much, Roksana.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure being here.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your week. See you guys. See you, everybody.